Yo, what is up guys? Welcome back to another F123 Esports World Championship video. This is round number 6 around Zandvoort, my home track. And as you can see, once again, wet conditions to start off Q1. And once again, it's gonna dry up later on in qualifying. So what we're gonna do here is do 3 laps in Q1, use all of our intermediate tires. And then we're expecting Q2 to be dry, so yeah, just focusing on Q1 here, really just trying to make it easily into Q2. That's what we're focusing on, and trying to actually make the last lap as well this time. However, that's a lot easier because Zandvoort is a really short track. 107 is the lap time we do around here in dry conditions, so around 33-34 seconds faster than Spa. So very easy to do 3 laps around here, even in wet conditions. So just brake dragging here as much as we can to try and warm up the tires and to bring some heat into them. And yeah, you can see there 77 degrees at the moment. We're trying to go a little bit over 80 degrees just to make sure they are warmed up nicely. But yeah, that's not much of an issue with the intermediates and the full wet tires. So yeah, the hard part about wet conditions is mainly the difference in setup. We just have to run a really high rear wing, basically maximum rear wing on a track like Zandvoort, which makes the car really understeery, but it's the fastest way to drive. So yeah, that's so really frustrating about driving on high downforce tracks in the wet, because it feels like you've got such a bad setup on, but yeah, it's the fastest way to drive. So trying to get the front to turn in is quite hard, but we got it done quite nicely in turn 1. A little bit of wheel spin, and that's what I mean. You can see right there, I'm just missing all the apexes because the front doesn't bite into the asphalt. And yeah, it's just so hard to get right. And then once you get to dry conditions, suddenly you lower the rear wing again, and yeah, the car just turns so much better, and it's such a nice feeling. But in Zandvoort, nonetheless, it always feels a little bit chronically understeery for the past 2 F1 games, just because you have to run such a high rear wing. And yeah, just in general, the last 2 F1 games. Of course, F123 is much better, but high downforce tracks always seem to be a lot more understeery than the lower downforce tracks. So yeah, you can see that purple middle sector. Although I don't think that means really much, because yeah, we're one of the first to settle up Fabrice Lenoso with a 1:18.1. I've got no idea what we're gonna set here, but we're gonna go across the line, and it is gonna be quite a bit faster. So maybe Fabrizio backed out of that one. It's a 1:15.2, and yeah, we're just gonna do another lap, and then another lap again at the end of the session. This is our second lap, second set of tires. Across the line we go. It is a 1:14.988, and that puts us on the top of the standings for now. But yeah, the last run is where it's gonna matter. Again, probably expecting the track to get a little bit faster in this last run, and that's why I'm still pushing on my in-lap. I am gonna box, but just to get a better feel for the track, of course, as well. But yeah, now on to the very last lap. 9 seconds remaining as we cross the line into turn 1. Braking once again around 50 meters, which is crazy late in wet conditions. But on the F1 games in wet conditions, you've just got such an incredible amount of grip relative to real life. I reckon real life in the same conditions will be around 10, 15, maybe 20 seconds slower, because yeah, there's just no grip in wet conditions. And in the F1 game we only go like 7 seconds slower, 8 seconds slower, and yeah, that's just not that much. So thus far we are down in P9, we're 110 up, and we cannot make any mistakes. You can see a little bit of understeer there, but we got a good exit and gain some time, and the track is just getting faster, trying to get the front in gently, because if you wide not lock too fast, you just understeer wide. Barry Berman to provisional P1, 1:14.5, and we did a 1:14.8 if I remember correctly. So if we finish this lap, we're most likely gonna go faster than that already. 4:10s up, and it looks like a very good lap. Took the last corner really carefully, because I knew at that point I was going to be through. So yeah, just took it really carefully and made sure we went into Q2. P4 there, as you can see. Thomas goes across the line and goes 2.5 times faster than us, but yeah, took the safe route there. And yeah, once again, good pace in wet conditions. But now, Q2, dry conditions, and I just know from experience that I'm going to be struggling a little bit more on this track. I think, yeah, it's just the high downforce tracks I struggle with on this track. As I said, it's just more understeery, and I'm not as comfortable. My PBs are good, but of course, we're here at a LAN event. You don't get a lot of practice time. As I said, my first Q2 lap. We of course got 5 sets of soft tires remaining for Q2 and Q3 if we make it. So I'm planning on doing 3 runs in Q2 just to, yeah, make absolutely sure we get into Q3. Some people might save a set and then go 3 times in Q3. But yeah, I wasn't comfortable to do that because, as I said, high downforce track, not as comfortable. Even though I have the pace, I'm just not as consistent. And yeah, under pressure, I just tend to do worse when I've got a lot of understeer. And yeah, you can see there, only P11 after that second run, so we have to improve a lot here if we want to make it into Q3. I reckon at least 0.2 of a second. So that's what we're going to try and do. We're going to absolutely send it on this lap because there's not much to lose for us. And yeah, into turn 1 we go. Braking very late again, and you can see front just doesn't quite bite nicely for me. We still gain a little bit of time. But it's not enough at the moment. Through the next left-hander we go. 300 gain. And that's good. If we keep gaining 300s in every single corner, we're gonna make it into Q3. But that's the hard part, of course. Into the middle sector we go. Downshifting to 6th gear. 7th is an option as well, but you just lose a little bit of time on the exit. So still 300s up only. Trying to get the front to turn in. And yeah, that was a good entry, but lost a little bit on the exit. Now we do get nice rotation, and you can see instantly 300-400 gain through that corner. And now into the last sector, I know I have to push, and you can see I am pushing, but I just can't get the car to rotate nicely the way I want. Into the final corner we go, down to 5th gear. A little bit too late on throttle, but across the line we go. It's 1.3 tenths up. Is it gonna be enough? We're P15 at the moment, and it is only gonna be P13, unfortunately. Couldn't quite, yeah, get the maximum out of that lap. Struggling to get the front to turn in, but yeah, no ideal. Surprisingly though, as you can see in a moment, Lucas Blakely out in Q2 as well, and that's a very rare thing to see in the past 2 years, because I remember seeing Lucas go out in a Q1 or 2 session ever in the past 3 years, maybe, actually, I'm not sure, but yeah, that came a little bit as a surprise. And as I said last race as well, no one is invincible in this era of F1 Esports anymore. Everyone is constantly making mistakes, or not even mistakes, but getting out of Q2, for example, or Q1, drivers you don't expect. And that's, yeah, just the competitiveness of this grid. It's so incredibly close. You have to push so incredibly hard to make it just even to Q3. But now then, on to the race we go. You can see another intermediate start. Now, usually I'm very excited for this, but this race, if it stays wet for long, is going to be incredibly boring. But we're just going to have to wait and see how it goes. It's going to be 5 red lights. We're starting in P12 due to a grid penalty from someone else. And it's lights out, and away we go. Not a great start of the line, struggling a little bit to get the power down relative to Joni Tormela. However, not really under threat from anyone behind. We got Fabrizio De Noso going around the outside of us. Yeah, he did it really well, but I wanted to have the outside for this left-hander in order to try and go around the outside of someone. But Ismail was right there, a little bit slow on the apex, so he got overtaken by Fabrizio there. So that was not ideal. Down to P13 we go, and we've lost 1 position on this opening lap so far. Around the outside of Ismail we go into the fast right-hander. And again, it's gonna be another corner where we go around the outside of Ismail. We carry more momentum again into this right-hander, and it looks like we got the move done up to P12. We go again. Ismail's coming back at us though, but yeah, I think he picked up a little bit of marbles there around the outside perhaps, or just didn't quite have the grip on the outside there, and up to P12 we go. So we gained the position back that we lost on the opening lap. Now for the people who did not watch the official live stream, this race got restarted 3 times. The first one was for an incorrect grid. Yeah, it's obviously a custom grid because we do not go from qualifying straight to the race. And yeah, the host set up the grid incorrectly. And then for the second race there was incorrect weather, because you cannot copy and paste the weather scenario from a session. So yeah, we had to restart again then, and that's what happened in this one, which yeah, is a bit of an interesting one. I think it's very messy to restart F1 Esports races because you're playing with the result, but at the same time, obviously, if there's an incorrect grid, yeah, it's messed up as well. So yeah, the grid should just be selected correctly, and it wasn't. Yeah, again, as I said, you're just directly playing with the results because the race should just be played the first time correctly. But yeah, you can see there, lap 12, start of lap 12, end of lap 11. 3 people have boxed right there. I'm not sure who those people were. I think that's Lucas Blakely into the pits. Actually, it might be Danny Moreno was going into the pits. And yeah, they've gone for slicks. I was just very confused by that decision, because as you can see, the asphalt is just still completely wet. Now, that doesn't always mean something, of course. And yeah, you can see our core temperature is quite high, nearly overheating, but I felt like it was way too early to box. And yeah, that's why we're just gonna stay out. I'm not too scared about being undercut, as I felt like this was the right decision to just stay out. Again, you can see more people boxing. Freddy Rasmussen with the fastest lap of the race. We go 2/10 slower than that. I'm gonna try and close in to the cars ahead in the next few laps, and depending on when they box off as well, of course. We've got Jake still behind us, still out on track as well. You can see the rain has stopped, but in my opinion it's still too wet, and my engineer was telling me that yeah, they were not gaining time to us, so I don't get why they boxed. Of course it takes some time to warm up the tires for us as well, so maybe if it stays equal they will undercut us, or maybe overtake us on track, because we will have to struggle for tire temperature, which is the phase they're going through now. But still, I felt like it wasn't a good move. You can see there, I'm really struggling to get the front end to turn in. And yeah, that's just losing me a little bit of lap time again. Haven't really been comfortable on this track, this whole qualifying session and this race so far. It doesn't help that it's wet as well, and obviously running a little bit more of a wet setup makes the car even more understeery. As you can see, race control has enabled DRS. We're just gonna stay out again though. You can see Ismail Fassi getting DRS behind us, and that's the worst timing ever. Into turn 1 we go. Ismail's gone a little bit wide. I think he might have had a slight lock up there. But yeah, that was a little bit unlucky timing. But we are going to be boxing at the end of this lap as well, as I just don't quite have the pace on these intermediates and we're struggling.
Don't worry about the damage. I've got some new strategy options if you go and check your MFD.
I'm struggling to get the fronts to turn in. Jeff is coming up with a completely stupid strategy. Softs to the end, which is not even possible to do 22 laps on a set of soft tires. But we're gonna be coming in for a set of mediums. I'm still trying to yeah, drive as fast as I can. I just can't get the front to turn in. You can see I've lost quite a bit of time to Joni Tormela up front as well.
Okay, I've got a brand new race strategy on your MFD if you want to go and check it out.
As I got another update from Jeff. This has to be one of the most annoying things about the F1 game. the endless updates on the strategies that I do not want. Again, I'm getting harsh advice when I just selected mediums. It's so frustrating, and I wish there was just an option to turn it permanently off. Because, yeah, what you're about to see is a Ferrari boxing ahead of us, and they had the same, but their in-game engineer selected intermediates for them. Or came up with intermediates, and when you just drive into the box, you don't change it before you drive into the box, it will automatically select the strategy that it suggested, and it put him, or put Nicolas Longe on intermediates. And as you can imagine, his race is over at this point. Yeah, it has to be removed. I can't understand why Cody's have not, or EA have not made an option to remove it, because it's so frustrating. And yeah, I've tried to push or give feedback on this many years ago already, on that they should remove or give an option to remove these suggested strategies, but yeah, it has never happened. And now Nicolas Longe, we got pole position, was winning the race, got shafted out of a race win because this option is not available. But yeah, obviously it's an advantage to us, but it's just not really fair in my opinion. It's just frustrating that this is in the game. So yeah, I feel very sorry for him, because he basically got a little bit frauded out of a race win here. But yeah, we have to get on with our stuff. We're trying to get past Joni Tommala. I think Fabricio Donoso had the same issue as Nicolas Longe. So those are going to be 2 free positions for us. Into turn 1 we go, trying to go around the outside of Joni Tommala in turn 1. Unfortunately, yeah, wheel-to-wheel racing is not quite possible in turn 1. And this left-hander, because of the marbles, you can see every time I try to drive a different line to, yeah, go for an overtake, you get marbles, and yeah, you get stuck behind. You lose 2-3 tenths, which is the difference, obviously, between making a move and not making a move. So, yeah, again, it was a very frustrating thing about this game was the marbles, because it ruined wheel-to-wheel racing on certain tracks, and yeah, we just got stuck behind Joni Tommala because of it here. And not to mention, I was perhaps being a little bit too safe at this stage, because yeah, it is of course hard to balance out. If we go for a very risky one, we might not finish the race, and at the same time I want to be fair as well. A 3-second penalty, for example, for a reckless move will drop us out of the points, so we have to be smart about it. We have to get past, but we have to understand every point in this championship matters, and we're gonna go for it again into turn 1. This time we go down the inside, and Joni leaves us just enough space, and that was a beautiful bit of racing. Unfortunately, I just can't find my way past. And yeah, again, I want to go around the outside there again, but yeah, not possible due to the marbles. Lap 19 now, and you can see, still trying to find my way through. Joni boxed on the same lap as us, and I think that made our life a little bit harder as well, because yeah, he's on the hards on the slower tire, of course, but if he was on the hards and boxed 3 laps earlier like Thomas Ronnaar front, then this would have been a lot easier. Nicolas Longe getting out of the way nicely, not trying to ruin anyone's race, and he's boxing, and that's his race over, just because of that stupid strategy suggestion that he got when entering the pits. So yeah, free position for us, but not a great day for the F1 game. So P9 at the moment. We got Jake behind us as well, actually. We boxed I think 1 or 2 laps later than us, and it worked wonders for him. And now we have to get past Joni Tommala into the next chicane. He squeezes almost onto the grass, but he leaves us just enough space, and up to P8 we go. And honestly, I really enjoyed this battle with Joni, because those were some great few laps of good racing with very, very minimal contact. And now we're going to go for the move on Thomas Ronnaar into turn 1. You can see he's using his battery as well, but we're in the slipstream. Into turn 1 we go, around the outside. We need to make sure not to go onto the marbles here, which we don't. And up to P7 we go. Thomas having boxed way too early, of course. Struggling, or starting to struggle on his tires. And yeah, he hasn't had a good few races. Spa, of course, out of the points. Silverstone P8. and now he's gonna drop out of the points again as well, due to boxing too early onto slicks. So just over a lap to go here. You can see our tire wear indicator has popped up. Our mediums are starting to struggle relative to those hards, but we do have a full battery, and Lucas is slightly lower on the battery, so yeah, I'm not going to use my battery right here yet. You can see Lucas is flashing, and I know I'm not going to be able to get past into turn 1, so I wasn't close enough on that occasion, so I'm just waiting for maybe some battling to happen up front. That way we can close up to Lucas if the pack does bunch up, and then we can get an easy overtake, but that is of course a lot of ifs that we might not get, so using a bit of my battery here to make sure I stay close, and then on the run to the line we can try and go for a move. And yeah, you got Jake right behind us, who has done a great job from P19 or P17 on the grid, P16 actually maybe. So yeah, he's got a great race. We've actually had a great race as well, P13 to P7 at the moment, and maybe a P6. Of course, we did get 2 free positions from Fabrizio Donoso and Nicolas Longue. And yeah, if we only had gotten past Yoni a little bit earlier, honestly, we could have perhaps had a shot at the podium if we really drove well. But you can see now, we're in the slipstream, got more ERS, and we're gonna go for the move on Lucas Blakely. Across the finish, we're gonna go! And it is, unfortunately, only P7. 24 1,000ths of a second to Lucas across the line. Our tires were just about not good enough anymore. We got a great run though. Used absolutely all the battery we had, apart from the 6% of course, but under 10% you start losing power. So we tried everything we could there in that last 1.5 lap. P7 it is. Not great, not a great result, but yeah, still decent points. It's annoying that we're doing well in the races and qualifying, or I feel like I'm doing well in the qualifyings on the tracks that I'm not good at, and then on the tracks we're supposed to be really good at, like Jeddah and Spa, we're just not doing well enough. On the tracks we've got a potential pole position, or maybe a top 3 qualifying or top 5 qualifying. We're just not there, and it's frustrating, but that's just how it goes. You cannot always roll 6 or whatever the saying goes. We just have to keep pushing. Of course, championship leader Thomas Horner, I think, not leading the championship anymore after 4 points in 3 races. I think Freddie Rasmussen is leading the championship now, heading into Kota, and yeah, he only started P6 on the grid, as you can see there, Freddie, and yeah, won the race. So again, amazing drive from him. He's leading the championship now. I think we are P2, 1 point ahead of Thomas. And yeah, we've got some catching up to do. So we're going to have to push hard in the next few races. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe. And see you guys next time. Ciao.